Hi everyone, it's Killshot99 Dead, and this is The Passage, Season 1, Episode 3, Fan Reactions Live. Another really solid episode. I was kind of on pins and needles all the way through. I thought the storyline was great, really loving how they do the backstories. Did have one kind of cheesy moment. I'll talk about that in just a little bit. Before we get too far into it, I want to give a super chat shout out to Valar, who says, "Hello 99 Army, Kill Steph, Emmy, Kel, Sweet Tommy, sponsors, patrons, all the super chatters," and a follow-up message. Thank you. It says, "I'm loving the passage more and more." I think it's a good combination. I'm right there with you, Valar. No doubt about it. This to me was the best episode because it's really starting to answer a few of my questions. I saw a couple people. I was scrolling through a little bit of chat here, and well, it was one spot, Steph. One spot of cheesiness. I'll get to it toward the end, because there was a lot of really good stuff that I want to kind of touch on. How many people were super hyped that Lacey is still alive? I know many of you predicted it, but it was good to see that it was came full circle and she's there. So there's got to be a bigger plan for Lacey. So let's get right into it. Let's do what we do with our fan reaction videos. And let me just ask you, what was the most shocking moment? What was, if I ask you for a reaction, what part of tonight's episode surprised you the most or impressed you the most? Yep, Chris Rain's like, "I told you that." Okay, you're right. I was hopeful. I was optimistic, but I wasn't 100%. I think a lot of people are going to say that Lacey survived. That was like, yeah, there you go, Mish, right off the bat. I knew it. Viola says Lacey as well. There had to be, most everybody says Lacey survival. Does anybody else feel like the reporter is setting up his wife? I don't know. I might be wrong about that one. I just felt, she wasn't really appreciative. She was bringing her information. Like, in most cases, I think you think, okay, we got a story here. I'll check into it. But the reporter was like, "If it checks out, I'll call you." And then, after some of it checked out, she wants to meet. Lisa Khaleesi says the reporter might die. Yeah, something sketchy about her. I guess what I'm so impressed with at this point in the show is the flashbacks. Maybe this has been done somehow, somewhere before, but I can't ever remember. Can anybody ever remember when a flashback was told through telepathy? Like making you feel the flashback instead of telling the story? Or I just think it's a really amazing, neat way of doing it. We'll get some comments on that. Just want to get a few of your comments included in this video. Yeah, and who knows who's going to be next? I mean, I think it's such a good mix of the dire situation with some of the people. Like, the guy next door to Amy, I can't remember his name, but, he was kind of, had some bad health issues, bad knee, a former athlete, and then now he feels, we haven't gotten really his backstory, but we know in his current situation he wasn't in good shape, and all of a sudden he's feeling better. And now we find out with Shauna Babcock, her complete story. And I had a feeling that her money was going to be gone, but, the fact she was abused for 8 years, that's rough. And there was it was rough to watch that, but there was a little bit of vindication, watching her take out her frustrations on her mom and then Danny. Yeah, that was tough. I do. Well, Steph asked like moments of cheesiness, so there were two. Um, and I don't want to pick it apart, But Brad getting all the way down, to the secret chambers. Can someone buy a surveillance camera? I mean, just one. And I know going into the room, the surveillance was turned off, but there's no surveillance in the hallway. There's no surveillance in the room. It seemed a little bit too easy. And yeah, Brad going down there was, it wasn't Fear the Walking Dead unrealistic, but for something that they've got so much security and they're watching over people, I thought that was way too easy. And the dream at the end, that was the only thing. I was willing to fully accept all of the lack of security and him going down there because I know I had to tell the story. But then Fanning being like in his dream and him waking up, the look on his face did not scream out like afraid. They're going to have to work with Zach just a little bit more on his screaming horror petrified acting skills. I'm honest. I almost giggled a little bit when I saw the look on his face. It's like he could do better than that. I know I'm being a little picky. Go back and watch it again. He just didn't seem like completely I guess terrified. A good jump scare at the end. I don't know. I didn't get a jump scare. I guess that's why it kind of just rolled off a little bit. I mean, there were some other that were maybe not full jump scares, but I mean, there were some other things. We're starting to get into the horror aspect. Yeah, I think a couple people might have laughed that one off a little bit. There was like a shriek or something, or some music playing in the background. Maybe that was the cause of the jump scare. Just going to check out a couple comments here. Yeah, it's a good point, Viola. I mean, yes, I mean, I know how do you drug Amy? Because they believe she's the last resort. That's the only reason. I also like that Babcock actually saved herself a little bit. So we do know the history's true because Brad brought her there, but it's almost as if, well, I got to be careful because, I mean, it is a delicate topic, but it's almost like she's telling her story, but she could be using her story to garner more sympathy to actually get her way. Does that make sense? I mean, it's like we know what happened to her, but then she's got to get that into people's minds so they stop torturing her and give her a little bit of a break. So a little bit of manipulation as well. And I think it's just because the beginning stages where they're starting to realize their power. Keep in mind, this is relatively new, and I think that's what we're going to see develop throughout the season and next season and beyond, is how these heightened senses and when it's fully matured and they can control it. Super cool that Babcock and Fanning were having a conversation and they're able to sort of to stifle and quell that bloodlust. So just concentrate. And he even told her as much. They're talking and they're not even talking. And, just kind of don't worry about it. Just, take it out of your mind because then you'll get as much blood as you want. So sacrifice now and you'll get a lot of it later on. So you can see Fanning is really thinking about the bigger picture. I don't know how they're going to get through the mind control portion of it. Yep, the dinner table chat. That's it, Willani. I'm also wondering what makes them susceptible to being mind controlled. How's Brad going to be able to avoid that? And how's the doctor with the beard? How's he avoided it up to this point? It's just certain people that they're kind of in their minds. And then you can see Amy, and I don't know, maybe Amy can rescue a few of them, but the guy next to her, he's going to be the first one to die, right? I definitely think he's going to go. He'll be gone within an episode or two, because you see that bond forming. And they'll either torture him or something will happen to him, and that'll push Amy's story a little bit forward. So not super cheesy, but a couple moments that I think we'll build upon them pretty well. And the one security guard, I got to tell you, I don't know how they can have a straight conversation with that guy. He is super... I mean, the fact he has a job, but he's just super paranoid, and he's a little bit creepy too. But the doctor just stands there, has a conversation, and his voice is... I'm not going to completely... I know it's an acting voice. But there's something about him that's, Brad wakes up and the guy's just there like looking. Maybe he's trying to warn him. But I wasn't comfortable with him. We just got to get to the point where Brad teams up with Lacey and they bust out. But it's going to be one of these never-ending chase scenes. Eventually, they have to get out. It's kind of like a haunted mansion. But I can see them going all over the country. But they're going to have to get rid of the tracking chip. That's a good point. Maybe he's just... He's frightened. He might play the frightened role, frightened? There you go. Frightened role better than Brad played it. He did. You know what, Hard and Nixie, you're right. He did remind me of Adam Sandler. Maybe that's why I didn't like him. Did any of you think that Brad was just going to punch that guy in the hallway, though? I thought he was just going to sock him one time before they went in. But you can see the bond. You can see Brad just has he's willing to swallow his pride just to kind of make it easier on Amy. All right. And hey, we're going to throw one more out there because I asked for the pre-episode rating. I'm going to ask you guys right now. So let's just go ahead and do it. Tonight's episode, don't take into account episode 1, episode 2. Just tonight only, 1 to a 10. Let's see where you guys have it. Khaleesi's still staying with the 13. It's always going to be 13, I guess. I'm going to give it a 9. I give it a 9 tonight. Hey, glad to see Chris putting the big number up there. 9.2, 9, 8, 9. Few 8s. Really, really good scores. Hey, I think we got a keeper, everybody. I think we got a show that is only going to grow. It's been solid for 3 episodes. I'm going to ask you guys to draw one more comparison. Because we know Game of Thrones and Walking Dead is in a different stratosphere. But if you had a show to watch right now between Fear the Walking Dead and The Passage, let's see how you compare those two. Pick one of two. Not The Walking Dead, not Game of Thrones, but Fear the Walking Dead or The Passage. About 50. Oh, I'm liking it. I'm liking the fact that that's impressive. That is very impressive. Yeah, I like them both too, but at this point, I wouldn't disagree. I mean, the first 3 episodes definitely have me more interested at this point than when I started watching Fear the Walking Dead. All right. Well, you know what? We're about 16 minutes, so these aren't going to be super long videos with The Passage. Just want to get some reactions in there. Tomorrow night, we are going to be right here on the 999 Dead channel, and we are going to be talking a little bit more spoilers, but we got a couple spoilers from episode 10. Not a lot of information out there, but it is starting to filter. So before it's kind of widespread, that's a good point. Viole's like, I want spoilers on The Passage. I don't know. You know, I like not being spoiled on The Passage. I like kind of figuring it out and enjoying it. But at the same time, when the spoilers are out for The Walking Dead, I like using them at the right time for validation. So we got a lot of different things. There's a bunch of different ways that we're going to go about 999 Army streams, 999 Dead streams. So whether it's Game of Thrones, whether it's rumors, reactions, we're going to have some great reactions on Game of Thrones. Walking Dead, obviously there's some spoilers that are out there now. But Passage, it's not a big enough show for people to get the spoilers. So I kind of like it that way, and we'll grow into it. So I'm going to wind it down right here. I want to thank everybody for being here. Appreciate you guys making time on your Monday night. We'll be back here at 9:30 tomorrow. A super quick shout out for all the Patreons, all the sponsors, the moderators, Emmy, Steph, Tommy, Kells, Super Chatters, thank you so much. And of course, the 999 Army. Not going to do any shout outs tonight because we did a little bit earlier, but I will catch each and every one of you hopefully tomorrow night. Have a great night and get some rest, everybody, and stay warm with all that cold weather coming up. Peace.